I spent a whopping 45 minutes in my little she shed today in Pfeffy's cottage, just doing some odds and ends things, and finishing up putting on my gable extension, so to speak, onto this piece right here, and fixing my mistake from earlier. So now all of the faces of these buildings are 30 inches tall, and the roof line will be 27 inches tall, so it will have very dramatic, gothic looking arched faces on each side of this building. This is the right end of the house. Right here, I am just slapping some 1/8 onto it, onto the gable, which I hadn't done yesterday. I'm just not feeling it these last couple days. I just, my little house is a mess, and it gives me anxiety, so I can only spend so much time in there. I need to go in there and clean, but I just don't have the wherewithal. So I am just doing little pieces here and there. So I am cutting out the gable on the right side of this building's face. There's going to be a bump out kind of set of bay windows on this side, for each floor. It's going to be all one piece instead of individual bays. There you go. So that piece is set to dry. Easy enough. Ugly as usual. Now this is the centerpiece between the two front faces. I'm going to go ahead and put some of the 16th inch plywood on the interior, and I'm going to try and be a little more careful about the interior. I know trim will cover up a lot of the whoopsies and sins that I have here, but I still don't want to have like just glaring ugliness like I do on the exterior. I'm relying heavily on the stone facade, or the stone covering to cover up my various sins and bad cutting and whatnot. But on the interior, I'm probably not gonna have as much leeway, because I'm probably gonna use a lot of this 1/16 as the background for some plywood paneling, or wood paneling, and I'm air quoting. So it has to be fairly presentable, and I will be able to cover up a lot of bad things with trim, but still, I'm trying to be a little more careful. So here I go with my saw again, my employee of the month safety procedures champion, and yeah, so I'm gonna start covering the interior pieces as well before I start gluing the house together. I have about, let's see now, I'd say about 2/3 of the house done. The exterior, the walls and stuff. Sorry about that. And I still need to do the roof and all those things, but right now I'm just focusing on getting the character of the building set up, and the roof might be the last thing I do before I begin to focus on the interior. But right now, I'm just trying to cut out these windows without like screwing it all up, because that's what I do. But they're coming out fairly clean. I really love this little Dremel. My husband had gotten me one of the little cheap knockoff ones from Harbor Freight. It was like $10, and it really actually worked pretty hard for what it was. But this Dremel, you can't deny that this thing is a little powerhouse. And I just got a Dremel router table that attaches to it, so I'll be able to make some profiled pieces, which is, I can probably make some trim and maybe even some cornice and that sort of stuff. I'm a little excited to give it a try. All right, so this piece has a bottom interior setup here. I ran out of clamps with all the gluing that I'm doing right now, so I am using masking tape, which is perfectly fine. And finally, I've got some pieces that are fully sandwiched foam board, and it's still very light, but it's also very sturdy. So I really am happy with this decision that I made to sandwich foam board in these two thicknesses of wood. So, and this plywood is really strong too. I mean, if you just go to the craft store and you get the straight up basswood, it's easier to cut and it's a little softer, but this is a plywood of basswood, and it's pretty damn strong. I'm surprised at how tough it is. So I got it on Amazon in little stacks of 20 pieces or something like that. I don't remember. But it cuts pretty good with my little baby table saw from Harbor Freight. And yeah, and then it really is a nice sturdy base for the construction that I plan to do on the exterior walls. I used the 1/8 thickness on the outside, and I'm using 1/16 thickness on the inside. And it doesn't bend very easily because it's plywood, so it's, each grain is offset, like they put horizontal and, vertical, stacked on top of each other. So it's like super strong, stays straight, really good quality stuff. I'm impressed. I need to order some more. I'm getting a little low on the 1/8. I probably will need it for the roof. But I also need more foam board because I'm running out of that too. So my first interior wall is covered, and that is the center spot here between the bay window face and the front door face. So I figured I'd start covering the front door face. It was getting a little warm in there even with the AC going. We've had a couple of rainy days these last couple days. In fact, it was snowing up at Timberline Lodge yesterday, and Portland had some hella weird hailstorms that just caused flash floods and all sorts of stuff. So it's been a little Oregon-y lately. But either way, it's warm again, and it's getting icky out here. I don't like heat. I don't like the sun. I'm part vampire, clearly. So here I am doing the interior wall with my terrible drawings, and the door, I've noticed, has kind of gotten worse with each iteration. Like, it's just completely uneven, and I didn't realize it when I cut it there. But as I cut these little windows and put the saw aside, I realized, oh dear, this is crooked. Let me put another cut in there. And then as I was measuring to cut the top off, I realized, oh my God, this is so lopsided. And it's even worse than I thought it was. So I have to cut. I'm like measuring, and drawing okay, let me see now. Is this the same width as this is? And, and I'm measuring, and I'm realizing, oh my God, this is so lopsided. I'm going to have to do some major, fixing with trim, because this door is a disaster. And I knew it was crooked from the get-go, but I didn't fix it every time. But I'll get it. I'll get it fixed. But in the meantime, here's another. There you go. And then now I can chop out the door. But like the door is kind of more on one side than the other, so I'm gonna have to do some I don't know, some MacGyvering, figure it out. But there you go. So at least it's cut out. And on the interior, it's fairly clean. Let's get the window. And I pretty much stop at this piece, I think, because I just get super tired and grumpy when I'm too warm. So I cut this out, and then I'm going to attach it to the front door face interior. I still need to do the 2 side pieces plus the second floor piece. But there you go. Whoops, flip that over. Yeah, definitely 2 different widths. We'll have to fix that. And there you go. Some glue. And more glue. And cover that up. There you go. You'd be surprised how sturdy these are once you put the 2 layers in there. And it's going to clean up pretty quick once I start doing this. And it's sturdy, but it's also light. So this dollhouse is going to be, I think the heaviest piece is going to be this foundation piece that I built out of that plywood, that shitty plywood. So there you go, tape down, and that's how I left it. I think pretty much how I left it. What am I doing here? I don't know. Yeah, anyway, that's it for today.